in our pre-interview prep, you mentioned that you felt putting the client's goals first was critical. Um, and I know that sounds kind of simple, but if you could elaborate on this thought and share how you think we can all do a better job of that.
Absolutely. And it is one of those things that initially we think is so simple. And I'm still learning, and I'm still taking myself out of my comfort zone and doing lots of different things to help me learn how to listen, how to listen, not just to what somebody says, but their body, the way they respond, the way their breath changes, the way they lean in, the way you say something and they lean out. All of those things are getting to know your client and finding out their goal. But what I loved, Sandy, was what you just said as well, that most people might say they want to lose weight, or they want to gain muscle. But let's go with the weight loss. And in a lot of basic education, that will be where we stop. Oh, great, they've said they want weight loss, let's go and design this program. But what I want to know, first of all, is why is weight important to you? Why is losing weight important? And just let the client sit with that. Because sometimes they might have booked a personal trainer just because Jane's got one, and everything that Jane does, they want to do too. They don't really know why they're there, but they think that you think they might want to lose weight. So that's the first thing they're doing to try and connect with you. And it might not be their goal at all. Or it could be that they've had a child, and the last thing they actually want to do is lose weight, but they just want to speak to a human being that's older than 4 months, is not going to just gaga at them, So, and that's very different. And so the program would look totally different. But basically, they might have a revelation when they come in that they think their goal's weight loss. But as you say, why is that important? They'll go, well, I've got this wedding. And you can go and say, well, have you ever not been invited to a wedding because of your weight? I'm sorry, Sandy, you can't come to this wedding.
Right.
That's not a reason. And at that point, it gets real.
Yeah.
So up until this point, all they've actually given you is their extrinsic reasons for doing that goal. So the carrot. But unfortunately, late at night when the cheese is calling from the fridge, the carrot's not enough.
Right.
And that's when you need the intrinsic motivation or inspiration. And so that's where I say, well, what if you never lose that weight? Then what?
Right. So part of getting to the root of the goals, like the initial goals that clients come in with, we have to practice some motivational interviewing techniques to elicit that information, to get to the core of why they're there or why they keep coming back, and then use that information to progress them.
Yeah, some people do use motivational techniques, and this is slightly different, because what I'm doing here is, and motivational interviewing is great, but we call this why, so. And once we've got to that, sort of, I'm letting them breathe and have that space to tell me what it is. And normally when you get to the so what, that's when they either say, I lost my mum, when she was 42 and I'm 41, and I want to be able to be with my kids. I want to see them walk down the aisle. Now that's real, and that's a moment. So I have to be careful where I do this, because if I take my clients to the same coffee shop, people think I'm awful because they just cry. And but it's at that moment that you've got that real reason, that real goal. But also because, if the goal is actually about, I don't feel like I'm strong enough, or I don't feel like I'm going to be around to see my kids, that's not a beating them up type program. That's a nurturing them program. That's showing them everything that they're capable of doing and guiding them through. The most important thing about our training session, they want to come back. So that's why fun's important. They want to come back, and then we can put everything else they need within that program in there, but get the consistency in. And so I do think that's something that we could do better. I've stolen loads of things from the world of dance and acting, to help me in that, and do improv and stand-up comedy to help.
Yeah, we're going to get to more of that when we talk about your social media feeds, but yeah, that's going to be fun.